How's it going, guys? My name is Cody, and I have another fight analysis video for you, this time on Michel Rensen. Now, he's not the biggest name in HEMA, but he's absolutely rising in the ranks and is pretty active in the tournament scene. He makes good use of high guards like Ox and has some unique approaches to the fight that I'd like to highlight. Real fast, I want to clarify what this fight analysis video series is and is not. It is not a 100% overview of someone's fencing. It is just a collection of some tournament footage I use to analyze the various styles of fencing that are present at longsword tournaments. So with that done and out of the way, let's get going.
I would say the foundation of Rensen's fencing is his ability to strike at multiple openings in quick succession. When it works, it looks brilliant. Before we move on to the next clip, take note as to when this technique is most effective. Rensen initiated the play, and his opponent was fencing defensively. So this exchange was quite the opposite. Rensen did not initiate, and his opponent was not acting defensively. Rensen enters into a middle bind, but both leave the bind to strike at another opening. They seem to double with the strike to one another's forearms before Rensen lands a superior strike to his opponent's head. I included this exchange just to highlight when this technique is most and least effective. The main guards I see Rensen use are Schrenkut, Flug, and Ox. There is also the occasional bit of grappling. Unfortunately, most of the grappling I was able to find got called a bit too soon in my opinion. The best exchanges in my opinion are simple and clean. When Rensen identifies an opportunity and lands a clean cut while parrying the afterblow. For this exchange, I can't tell if it was a cut and parry, or if Rensen missed the cut, parried his opponent's cut, and landed a pommel strike. I also saw a lot of really nice and fancy exchanges, showing a good understanding of both tempo and reading the fight. As far as thrusts go, they always seem to be from a high guard like Ox, usually when his opponent is in Vomtog, as he can catch his opponent's overhow on his Quillians. Or as a single-time counter when his opponent initiates the play with an overhow. I thought this exchange was pretty cool. After Rensen enters the bind with a cut, he launches several thrusts from the bind, cuts to a new opening, then launches several more thrusts. I like it because it demonstrates a bit of variety of techniques, but also because I don't see many people thrust from the bind. Now, my only real critique on Rensen's approach to the fight has to do with the frequency he uses the Zverhau, and cutting to multiple openings, reminiscent of Miles' 4 openings. Now, this approach to the fight is often successful and could lead to some very nice, very interesting to watch plays. I did notice, however, that on occasion his opponent would come to anticipate his strategy, and one countered it quite successfully by simply lowering the point and allowing Rensen to run into it. My takeaway point being the importance of variety of techniques, as there is a counter to everything. Bonus clip. This one is of James Mack clip, demonstrating a great use of half sorting. It was just too cool not to include.
Rensen's fencing style seems to be at its best when he's paired up against a more defense-oriented opponent, or when he manages to take the ball and maintains that momentum with various cuts to multiple openings. Oftentimes it overwhelms his opponents and leads to some nice clean points. He also uses a decent but not excellent variety of techniques, such as grappling, bind walk, and thrusts. One of the weaknesses in his approach to the fight seems to be in how he addresses more aggressive opponents, or opponents who have come to anticipate his Zwerhaus. I would say one of the most difficult aspects of fencing is modifying your approach to the fight to better match or counter that of your opponents. For example, if you are accustomed to throwing a bunch of Zwerhaus against a defensive opponent, that's often going to work. But if you find yourself fencing an aggressive opponent, or an opponent who fences out of tempo, well then you can expect to get a lot of doubles. And so you need to modify your style of fencing to better match that of your opponents. It's part of reading the fight, and it's part of adapting to the situation. Now, Rensen addresses a lot of his aggressive opponents, usually with grappling or single-time counters, such as striking into the attack, or striking at the head and parrying the after blow. A lot of these plays were very well done, but a lot of times he was also throwing Zwerhaus while in close measure, which led to a lot of double hits. And this seems to be an aspect of Rensen's fencing which definitely isn't bad. He has a lot of good ways of countering aggressive opponents, but I would say is a less developed aspect of his fencing. So I certainly enjoy watching Rensen fence. His fencing style is certainly developing, and with how active he is in the tournaments, I can only imagine that he's going to continue climbing in the HEMA rankings. Now, something of interest is that he fences with the club Zwaardenstein, which is the group that hosts tournaments such as the Dutch Lions Cup, and is also the YouTube channel that I get most of my content from. So if you enjoy my content, go check out their channel. They have literally hundreds of the videos in the raw, which is also kind of interesting because you get to see the development from the very first exchange to the very end, and see how people adapt their fencing styles as the match continues. So I really do hope that you enjoyed the content of this video, and I will be making more, hopefully in the very soon future. And I'll see you next time. Vi sind Latestre.